Great, thanks, guys. Okay, I'm going to enable. Oh, there we go. Going to enable my webcam as well, just for a little while at the start. If it starts to affect people's bandwidth, if you find that it begins to lag, just let me know, and I'll switch it off. So, Jane, do you want to say a few words to introduce me, or Julian, if you're there, or shall I just jump straight into it? No, I guess these
Hey,
guys have
Vinny.
been up. Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
I
Had a
didn't know
mouthful
whether
of
you
food.
wanted. I jumped straight into it on the first time round, and I didn't know whether you wanted to introduce me or.
Um, well, I can. Hello, everybody. This is Vinny, who's you
Cheers,
can
Shane.
see him there.
Okay, let's go.
No, I assume most people would already know Vinny, and this is the repeat session. So I assume there's probably a lot of new people who didn't see the first time round. And I actually got to say, Vinny, and this isn't just sucking up to you. Yours has actually been the session I've enjoyed most so far in this iMoot the first time. And unfortunately, I can't stay for the whole one this time. But I'm just saying to other people, I really got a lot out of your one, and
Thank
obviously
you.
a lot about the other work that you do anyway in the Moodle community. So
Thanks.
yeah, or feel the love. So I'll hand over to you. There you go.
That's just because you've been watching the Love Train videos. You got that going
That's
on in your head.
I
Okay.
have nightmares about that.
Cool. Okay. Enough silliness. Let's jump into the presentation. That's what you guys are all here for. So there, there we go. 101 creative ideas for forums. Um, that's my Twitter handle. If anybody wants to hook up with me. Um, just to say a few words to introduce the um, presentation that I'm going to give you this afternoon for me, maybe morning for some of you, middle of the night for others. Okay. I really just want to give you just some ideas to take away with you. Some of this is not going to be new. Some of it might just be some timely reminders. But if you come away with a handful of new, interesting, creative ideas that you can try in your teaching or whatever your situation you use Moodle in, then I'll be really pleased with that. My background is blended teaching. I meet my pupils face to face. We use Moodle to back all of that up, and I've been Moodling for probably around about 8 or 9 years now. All of the ideas that I'm going to present today will probably need some careful explanation in the forum introduction. But there's no reason why they can't be adapted for remote learning. You can also use a lot of these ideas in glossaries and databases. In fact, some of them are probably better suited to glossaries. And I'll probably try and point some of those out as I come across them. A little bit of background. This is all on the course that goes along with my presentation. So how to set up forums, have a look if you're very new to Moodle. Groups and groupings can be quite powerful for forums. And what I'm hoping to present is 3 separate parts. The first section will be general ideas that you can take with you and then use apply to any aspects of what you do. Following that, some subject-specific examples. And then the last bit, which is probably the most interesting, and it's a little bit geeky, but using custom scales so that you can rate your students' posts and also get them rating each other as well. So great for some nice peer assessment and peer feedback. It's a little bit off-putting, this kind of presentation where it's me talking to a computer and kind of looking at a video of myself. So please jump in and comment on the chat. Use the chat box in the middle. Use the thumbs up and any of the other little tools that come along with Adobe Connect. If you're looking at this on iPads and Android devices, there's no clever content, just a PDF of my presentation. There's a couple of polls at the end, which I don't think work on Android or other devices that don't have Flash enabled. But anyway. Cool so far? Everybody hear me? Good. Cheers. Okay, thanks guys. Right, so I think what I'll do is let's stop my webcam and go into larger presentation format, just in case you can't read my font size. Okay, so really just let's jump in and have a look at some of the ideas that I've come up with. So first section, general ideas for use in forums. Anticipate, ask the pupils to tell you what they think is going to happen next in some kind of a scenario. We often use forums just for discussing and debating, but just try and pull that a little bit further. Give them a situation. What do you think is going to happen next? Get them to blog. Assign different students to blog about the lessons that you've taught. You could ask individual students to present different aspects of the same problem, and then ask the others to discuss those aspects and that problem. This is one that you could use in a face-to-face lesson. So pupils, sometimes you get the quiet pupil that really doesn't want to interact with you or with their peers in lessons, but often they're quite happy chatting on forums. So allow them to use their mobile devices in lessons. Set up a forum that they can post questions to you while you're teaching them face to face, and then you could reply verbally to those. They could be popping up on your laptop or whiteboard behind you, interactive whiteboard. You could give them a reply to that, and then to reinforce the learning, you could ask them to follow up by posting a summary of your reply. It's quite often useful to close a forum. I know you've got the open and close dates on it, but if you want to permanently close a forum, you can do that. It's all in the forum's administration permissions. So just clicking the prevent, the little X in the student role, so they can't start new discussions or reply to posts. As I said, guys, if you've got any comments and questions and things like that, throw it into the chat box, and I'll try to answer those as they pop up. As teachers, we sometimes forget about trying to build that community among the teachers. You're often, sorry, among your students. We're often caught up in our day-to-day subject teaching. It's sometimes quite a nice idea to create off-topic discussions for your students, and it could be on your main subject course. Just have something that they can comment on, their likes, their interests, really just to kind of build that community within your classroom. The next few are all very similar kind of idea. It's all about converting, which accesses all those higher level thinking skills, which is so important for fostering deep learning within the pupils that you teach. So you could ask them to convert a graph into text, post a graph in the introduction or as your first post. Ask them to describe it. Maybe a Q&A forum would work best for that. You could ask them to convert an image into text, so post the picture, get them to describe it, talk about it. It could be, that could work quite nicely with a scientific diagram or something. Similar idea, give them a piece of text and get them to sequence it, put it into a flowchart. There's lots of neat online pieces of software and offline pieces of software that can do that. Then you could ask them to upload an image of that flowchart. The opposite way around, converting text into a graph. So give them some data, ask them to plot it, maybe in Excel or another spreadsheet, and then take a screenshot of that graph and upload that into the forum. Or you could do it via Google Docs, the spreadsheets on Google Docs, which would be quite cool. Get them to storyboard text, or get them to take that text and turn it into mind maps. One thing teachers often like to do is to keep track of posts. So you can set up so that you only rate the quality posts. If you, as a teacher, if you decide you can have a simple scale, maybe 1, 0, set up a scale. So the maximum of the scale might be, let's say, 10. And on the settings, you can choose to use the count of the ratings. And then if you just give each pupil a 1, if it's a quality post, that can total up, and you can keep quite a nice tally of the useful or the quality posts that your students are posting. You could get them to create a diary, limit the post to 1 per day, and if you ask them to start off a new discussion each, they can put the day of the week, reply to their own, and then build up a nice diary over the course of a week. And of course, that's all open, so they can share that, comment, feedback to each other. This is one that might need a little bit more explanation, a carousel. Now, this would be a normal forum, but in the introduction, you can tell pupils that they are only allowed to reply to the previous unanswered post. Once they've done that, they can then make a new post and then kind of follow around like that. You could do a similar kind of thing with a Q&A forum, but that's kind of, it's like almost the other way around. Q&A forum, they have to post and then they can reply. If you do it this way, then they're replying to something and then they're posting something new. Yeah, please guys, if you've got any feedback, if you've got any questions, pop it into the chat. Thanks, Emil. Yeah, think of a group story building via comment. I've got some other examples of something similar to that later that hopefully you'll be interested in. And of course, I should throw in the discussion on the course that goes along with my presentation. You know, if you've got any other examples of things that you've tried within your teaching or your workplace that works really well, please share them, pop them in. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all of this after the end of iMoot. I'd like to try to incorporate it, or at least maybe put this on SlideShare and have a link somewhere on the Moodle docs, just so people can have access to all of these ideas. Also, I will give you all a copy of the PDF after I finish the presentation that you can all take away as a reference. Editing time. Yeah, it's worth pointing out, if you're using the Q&A, in fact, if you're using any of the discussion forums, pupils have got 30-minute editing time. Now, the Q&A forum, if you was to post an exam question as a Q&A, so you'd put the exam question in the introduction and then force pupils to post an answer before they could see each other. Of course, they could just post anything and then go back and edit that after they've seen each other's answers. Hopefully they wouldn't do that, but you can use that 30-minute editing time to your advantage. So you could give them something to talk about, give them a question, and tell them after they're posted, go back, you've got 30 minutes, read each other's answers, and then improve your own. Show us what you can do. It's quite useful to have a forum specifically for the teachers, so you can do that by hiding the forum. Pupils won't be able to see it. If you click on the little eye, so the eye closes, the icon next to the forum, that keeps it away from the students, but the teachers can still use the forum for developing the course. Film the teacher. Quite an interesting one. Probably take people well out of their comfort zone, but why not? Ask pupils to film you, film part of your lesson. If you're a practical subject, do a demonstration for them. Ask one or two of them to film it. They've all got, certainly the ones that I teach, got far nicer mobile devices than I've got. Get them to film it and upload it to a forum. Build up a nice portfolio of what you've covered in the classes. Great for them to go back to for revision as well. This is something. This is something that's quite nice. We've been working in my school. We've been working quite a lot on front loading the lessons. So the pupils are prepared when they come into your lesson. They know the topic, the content that you're going to get them to learn. A lot of time is wasted in lessons. The teachers telling the kids stuff when they could just look at it online, read it up beforehand, think about it, process it, and then they turn up to the lesson to ask questions. So that's something that you could use forums for too. Help desk, homework support. Another one which involves high level thinking, and I've got a few that pop up here. Again, this is just to really get some deep learning going on. So give them a bunch of content, again in your forum introduction, maybe set it as a Q&A type forum. Get them to take that content and then maybe arrange it in some kind of hierarchy. So it could be levels of importance, it could be steps in a process, it could be timeline. So some kind of hierarchy based on the content that you put in the introduction. Get them to come up with some ideas on the topic or reading, so you can address that when you see them face to face. Get them to hypothesize. Kids are really creative, so give them something wild and wacky to have a think about. You could give jobs to specific pupils. All pupils are different. Some pupils will be better at other things. Identify certain pupils and give them specific jobs. So again, you could do that via the introduction to your forum. For instance, you could have a link to a website that works out the day of their birth, which day of the week they were born, and you could say to them, okay, if you was born on a Monday, I'd like you to summarize all the posts. If you was born on a Tuesday, illustrate the posts, etc., etc. So give pupils specific jobs for a forum. Again, they're all different. They all learn in different ways. So take the content that you want them to learn and post it in a variety of different formats. So video yourself doing something, post some audio of you saying something, and then get them to reply to the post that helped them the most. The post that helped them the most. It's a nice way to get to know your students, and of course, you can then use that information. That's quite powerful. You can use that to inform your own teaching. Amir, yes, great. De Bono's hats. That's really interesting. I'm going to mention De Bono later, and Bloom and Gardner as well. Get them to, again, this would involve a custom scale. So I'm going to say more about custom scales later on, but you could give them a statement, or they could come up with their own statements, and then use that scale to get them to say how much they either agree or disagree with that particular statement. I felt a bit cheeky including this one because it's automatically generated, but we often don't use it as much as we should. It's a really, really, really powerful way to communicate, and use it. It's really good. And I guess while I'm saying that, the communication, the teacher is pretty much responsible for how well the forums work on their course. The teacher really has to um, get involved, ask questions, participate. If any of you have been involved in all of the iMoot discussion forums, you'll see people like Julian, who's fantastic at just keeping all of the conversation going, asking questions, getting people to participate. Don't expect kids just to use a forum because it's there. I guess unless you specifically set it for a homework and tell them they have to. But yeah, really, really get involved yourself in all the forums that you set to. Quite a nice one, really for peer reflection, but just have a forum where they post every day one thing that they learned. This one would involve splitting your group into half and explaining to one half that they would start a discussion to explain a particular concept or idea, so something that you would set up with them beforehand, and they explain it to the other half of the group. So pairing up, replying to each other to check their understanding. Opinions, yeah, find out your students' opinions, definitely, on the content that you've recently taught. Continue, we're all guilty of this, I certainly am. Continue class discussions if you run out of time. Ask them for ideas. This is quite an interesting one, the quarantine. So if you've got a naughty pupil that posts something that they shouldn't, something inappropriate, not really sure why they should because it's got their name attached to it, but you can split that forum post. If you set up a hidden forum, you call it quarantine or something like that, then the post that you want to quarantine, underneath the post there's a little link that says split. Click on that and then move it to the hidden forum, and then of course have a chat with the pupil and ask them, is quarantine a Moodle 2 thing? No. As far as I can remember, you've always been able to split discussions and then move them. Please pick me up, somebody, if I'm wrong on that. Teachers can split forums. Yeah, sure. I thought so. Thank you. 1.9. Quiz show. Get the students to start generating content so they can pose questions for each other. Revision. Yep. Get them to again arrange them into groups. So you could do that either verbally or you could do that using the groupings within Moodle. Get them to, for a particular topic, research, discuss, summarize. Again, you could possibly give them different roles for that, or ask them as a group to go through that process where it's clearly labeled the forum posts where they're researching, discussing, and summarizing. I mentioned this one earlier. So any subjects, any exam subjects could post questions, Q&A type forum. So as I said, Q&A does force pupils to post something before they can see the replies of everybody else, but you've got that 30 minutes editing time. So they could just post a load of nonsense, look at other people's answers and then go in and change them. Self-selector, so what you could do here is set up maybe 8 different discussions that you would start off, so different tasks, different things to discuss, and in the introduction explain to pupils that to pass this particular that you want them to complete, say 5 out of the 8, but just kind of gives pupils that little bit of freedom to choose how they want to cover the content. Something else which promotes high-level thinking. So sequencing, give them a bunch of information all jumbled up in your introduction, and get them to post it in the correct order again, possibly as Q&A. Similarities and differences. So an example of this may be, say, animal cells and plant cells. Sorry, I'm a little bit biased towards the sciences. That's my training. That's what I've always taught. So I'll try later to come up with some different examples. But yeah, similarities and differences. Animal cell, plant cell. You could ask pupils if they're born in an even month to reply with similarities, odd month, reply with those differences, like a compare and contrast. Yeah, Robin, higher order thinking. It's so important. It's so important. Snowball. Now, this is I'm not sure if I'm going to explain this one particularly well. Please pick me up and say if you don't get this after I've explained. So the teacher would start off by posting some kind of material. It could be a question, or it could be something that they're trying to explain a concept. First 2 pupils to read it and understand it would reply, "Yep, I've got it. I understand it. That's great." They would then take those ideas, concepts, whatever it is, and then start a new discussion, summarizing it, but adding something new to it. Maybe some more links, some more information, something like that. Then the next 4 pupils reply to those 2, doing exactly the same thing, reading it, saying, "Yep, perfect, I understand it, I've got it." And then those 4 reply with 4 new discussions with more new information, and so on and so on and so on. So teacher starts it off, and then you get 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, etc., etc. Cool. Did I explain that all right? Yeah, power of 2. Okay, onwards. How far I've got? 41. Better speed this up a little. Spotlight. So yeah, pick on a couple of kids. Give 2 students. I say pick on. I don't really mean pick on, but highlight 2 students. Give them time to prepare. Ask them to post 2 very opposing views, and then the rest of the group can carry on that discussion and reply and kind of extend it further. There's no reason why. I guess this is what I was trying to say earlier with giving pupils different roles. There's no reason why every pupil has to do exactly the same in a forum. Different pupils can do different things. Get them to suggest some improvements for your course, or ways to do things differently, or even suggest links and other material to back up what you're teaching. Surgery, teacher surgery, so they can post their learning problems. Hopefully, you can kind of generate that feeling within your class that they can start replying to each other and helping each other out. Teach the teacher. So go and edit your pupils, your students' roles, and give them the teacher role in your course. You could take away, with all the roles editing, there's a load of documentation on Moodle.org, but it's pretty cool. You could make up a new role. You could call it, I don't know, student being a teacher or something like that. But give them some kind of limited roles to be able to create forums and really just see what they can come up with. Could they post audio responses so that it's not just written? Yeah, definitely, Gareth. Yeah, not just audio, video, photos, and I've got a few nice examples of that a little bit later. Question, thank you. Yeah, another one similar to what I said earlier, but this time maybe the teacher summarizes the content that they've posted, that they've taught today, useful for absent students. Video diaries. So there you go, Gareth, one for you. Get them to film a video, upload that. If you haven't got a huge amount of storage on your Moodle site, then get them to upload it to YouTube and then pop a link on so that it doesn't affect your storage. But yeah, there's no reason why discussions have to just be typing. Vocab. So this is one that you could just ask pupils to take some kind of idea or story and start to post and blog about it. But just, be really specific. Ask them just to take somebody else's post and see if they can rephrase it or get them to improve it, with that emphasis on improving their vocabulary skills. Okay, this takes me on to some subject-specific examples, and as I said, I'm a science teacher, so there are a few science. There's quite a lot of English as well. I've tried to give a spread, and hopefully, the general section, that first section, gives you some ideas that you can all use in your own subjects anyway. Okay, art. Ask pupils to find some kind of picture, which is a good example of a particular use of line or tone or form or shading or in a particular style of an artist, maybe. One of the Impressionists, get them to find a modern example and explain why they think that it's got the same kind of same feeling. Another one for art, why not get them taking photos of their work, describing their creative process. You could post a picture and ask the pupils to talk about the thoughts or feelings that that particular image evokes. Business studies, get the pupils to go out into the local area and take some video interviews with business leaders. Chemistry, what's your favourite element and why? DT, get pupils to post photos of their projects after every single lesson. So get a nice progression there. That might be quite useful for maybe exam subjects, just to help to build up some evidence, portfolio. And of course, if anybody uses Mahara, all of this can be exported to Mahara too. Drama, you could use forums to get the pupils collaborating. I've not tried this idea, but this is something that I was thinking about last week. Why not give your pupils a particular situation and give them some characters and get them to have a discussion, but think very carefully what they're going to type. And it will form a live script. Once it's typed, once that discussion is there, it's in black and white, and then they could take that. You could print it out, or you could pop it up on a interactive whiteboard or something, and then get them to act it out in front of you later. Another one for drama, they could post. You could post a video clip of a particular piece of drama with some certain type of lighting, or maybe for media studies, camera angles or a particular use of camera. Get them to find and post similar examples to it. Simple one for English, a debate. Maybe get them again to take on a particular character. So ask them to post a day in their life as if you're one of Shakespeare's characters. This is probably one you could use for any subject, but give them a piece of information, ask them to distill it into 140 characters that they would post as a reply. Again, that's, the kids aren't going to like that one because I think it's very, very difficult, which is great. That's, again, getting them using a lot of higher order thinking skills. And that idea of mental sweating, if they find it easy, then really how much are they benefiting from it? If they're finding it really difficult, then that's good brain exercise. There's my example, my effort of a hake poem. So you could have pupils starting their own, replying to each other, until you build up the three lines there. I've probably got wrong number of syllables. I'm not an English teacher. I can. Another English one, book review. I think that's probably no surprise. Lots of people, lots of English teachers have probably used that one before. Um, Another one for English or languages, maybe, or second language English teachers. But post separate words as new discussions, get students to define them or give uses for them or examples, or um, find examples of how they're used in particular. One more English one. Again, where they're in character, but you could have a discussion, not necessarily about the book. It could, let's say it's, I don't know, again, back to Shakespeare, but you could have pose them a modern day question, but ask them to reply using the in character from a particular book that you're studying. Again, using images in your forums, but you could post something and ask them to write a short story about it. Am I going too fast for people? Is that okay? I'll take 2 minutes time out, and anybody want to ask me anything, or everybody cool? Thanks, Mick. Great, good stuff. Just had a sudden thought, am I actually sitting here with anybody listening to me? um, ESL, EAL teachers, again, second language, English. I love their idioms, so maybe ask them to come up with give an idiom, or they come up with an idiom, get them some examples of it in context. Richard Jones, yes, we're here. Great, Richard, thank you. Okay, 66 of 101. How long have I got? I've got about 20 minutes to go. Geography. Yeah, this is quite a neat idea, but I actually I kind of pinched this idea from the Lifehacker website, where every week they'll have an internet search research question. But I thought, yeah, why not use it as for a forum? Post a picture, make it difficult. You're going to have to hunt really hard to find a picture, because yeah, exactly, Robin. What they'll do is, the clever ones will just take that picture, drag it into Google Images, and then find it quite quickly. But yeah, get them to do some kind of treasure hunt or web quest. Yeah, good idea, man. Ideas are stolen, Richard. I maybe collaborated from somewhere. Yeah, Dom, take it yourself, definitely. Okay, yeah, well, you use holiday photos. History. Again, you could probably use this for most subjects, but some kind of guess who. So you've got an idea of a particular historical feature, a figure in mind, and get pupils to ask you questions. You only give them yes or no answers until they guess who it is you're thinking of. Another one for the history teachers out there. Again, you probably need some careful explanation for this, but you could get them to timeline something. So, for instance, the build up to the Second World War and the events afterwards, or something like that. Get them to post information about certain specific events, but you could get them to be very careful about who they reply to, so that when you look at the page, all of the posts actually appear in the correct chronological order as they actually happened. Languages, alphabet game. Post the name of something beginning with A, next person replies with something in that same category beginning with B, etc., etc. Languages, you could post an audio clip, ask students to translate it. And there's a few plugins for Moodle that you could use for this. Again, dig about in the modules and plugins section of Moodle.org. You could even get pupils recording audio straight into. Get pupils translating each post as a reply. Similar to a couple of ideas earlier, but upload a picture, get them to talk about it in French. A couple of maths examples, researching a particular mathematician, posting a bio but don't mention their name, and another kind of guess who type. Q&A, bearing in mind what I've said about those already, but yeah, set them some calculations to do. Music, get them to record audio of their songs, upload it as MP3, and then get some peer feedback going. So another music one, getting pupils to post links to YouTube music videos for particular feelings or ideas or style of music, that kind of thing. PE, not to leave out the PE teachers because they're often forgotten when we're moodling, but the teacher could upload a video of some kind of complex movement. You could get the pupils to repeat that movement, video it, and then upload it. My idea here, the idea of kind of uploading a series of stills, is kind of asking the pupils to kind of process it that little bit, rather than just copying it, processing it, and thinking about it, and then putting it together in these stills and uploading it. And some sciencey ones. So as a teacher, you could upload a video of yourself doing an experiment badly, get them to pick out the mistakes. The teachers at my school were the best Moodlers, Gareth. I'd love to hear some more examples of Moodle in PE. Science, pass the buck. So this is another, I guess, similar to the carousel idea from earlier, but one person could describe some kind of scientific process. Next person would reply to that scientific process with a process that's linked, and then explain why that process is linked. You could have, I don't know, a first person talking about respiration, and then the next person starts to talk about blood circulation, and then saying why they're linked, and then the next person could say about osmosis, and then say how that's linked, and so on and so on. Another science one, get them out and about, taking some pictures, showing weathering or living things, and you know, kids love to take pictures of their pets, get them to build some food chains out of them. Critiquing each other's experiment write-ups. Another one, you could use this for a piece of scientific text. So uploading something, get them to pick out and define keywords. You could also use this for exam technique. All those trigger words in exams like explain or describe, exemplify. You know, kids are often not great at understanding the nuances between those. Another example, you know, get them to kind of start to define some of those words. Another science example. So just some more research type forum. Textiles, maybe get the pupils just replying with images. Okay, that brings me on to the last part of my presentation for today. The third section, so using custom scales for ratings. which is well worth doing. Again, these links are on the course that go along with this presentation. So there's some information on that link, how to let pupils rate those forums. If you do set up some custom scales, then check any calculations, because sometimes the calculations do go a little bit wobbly. So just try it with a few students and check that it works before you release it en masse. So custom scales then. This custom scale could be used just to extend a discussion. So you could have pupils using the word, or you using the words, please simplify, give me more, add a few examples, etc., etc. Just to try to keep that conversation going. So they click on after a particular forum post, they click on the rate button, and these 3 snippets would be from a drop-down list so that they choose which one applies. You could have a custom scale linked to Bloom's taxonomy, which somebody mentioned earlier. Sorry, I can't remember who it was. I mentioned Bloom earlier. No, that was me. I mentioned Bloom. Somebody else mentioned Debono. Yeah, but using the different levels of Bloom's, and then getting the pupils to actually think about the thinking. So like metacognition, what's actually gone on in the thinking behind that post, and then get them to use the rating scale for that. So yeah, you could do similar for Debono then. So you could set up a scale using the different colours of Debono's thinking hats, where the pupils would again rate and click, saying, yeah, that's green hat thinking, that's black hat thinking that's happening in that post. It's just something that I'm trying to involve a bit more in my teaching, getting pupils thinking about this. Using things like Debono and Bloom's and Gardner's intelligences, all really good stuff. So exemplar, get pupils giving some grades. So you just use a normal grade scale with this, but if you post some work and then get them to give a grade to it, you could have some really, really interesting conversations happening afterwards. Why did you think that was worth a B? Why did you think it was worth a C? Feedback, another scary one for the teacher, but yeah, why not? Get them to give you a score. Ask the pupils to give you a score out of 5. Feel good factor. So just a simple scale that you could use just to kind of encourage. You maybe want to use this at the start of the year or the start of introducing Moodle or introducing your course or introducing. But just a nice scale with some really positive feedback. Thanks for your contribution, great post, well done, etc. Get them, make them feel good about their contributions. Another one with characters, but you could get pupils to post some quotes, and then if you make up a scale with names of say 10 different characters from a particular book that they're studying, come up with some pupils post the quotes, and then they can rate each other and say, yeah, that's a quote by such and such. This is probably the one that I use the most actually in my teaching at the moment. Just a really simple scale, just either outstanding, satisfactory, or unsatisfactory. Yeah, another way to use some scales in revision questions. If you set a revision question in the introduction, your first post would be the marking criteria. So then the pupils would post their answer, and they could use a grade scale to read your marking criteria and then apply that marking criteria to their own or each other's. Use that marking criteria to grade each other's Why not set up a custom scale based on the reward system that you use in your institution? So merits or credits or gold stars or yeah, gardeners intelligences. So grade scale saying they would use it, and so rates. Yeah, this is a logical mathematical post. This skill, this post shows a lot of interpersonal skills, etc., etc. Smileys. Um, so you could set up a grade scale. Just copy and paste in a load of smileys or make them up. The kids know what they mean. The kids, yeah. Do I know what that last one means? I'm not sure. But yeah, it's worth pointing out Moodle won't auto convert these because the ratings that are shown underneath the forum posts aren't in a HTML box. It's just plain text. So, but you still get the smileys displayed as they are on my slide there. Yeah, emoticons. Yeah, I quite like them. Stars. So you can actually use symbols. So do a little Google search for some text symbols. Yeah, you can, if you want, have a custom scale that you can use to rate using a picture of a snake. Actually, just popping back to that one, if you don't want to use stars, you can use asterisks as well. Traffic lighting, you won't get the colours, but you can use the words. So you could use that as a scale for pupils to say how well they understood a particular post. Voting, so use forums and get them voting on a particular idea. So that would probably just be a 1 or naught scale that you'd use for that. And lastly, we're up to 101 already. And lastly, not to forget, a single simple discussion about something. There's one other little bit just to throw in. Some people, thanks Gareth, some people have often asked about anonymous posting. There is a plugin. I haven't tried it. If any of you have tried it already, then please let me know, give me some feedback. How well did it work? But it basically allows people to post anonymously, which you might want to use for certain. Out of the box, there we go, sorry. And yeah, so hopefully that gives you all something to have a think about. Hopefully it gives you some ideas that you can take away with you. Carry on the conversation. Use the discussion forum that I've put together to, on the course that follows this. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, I'm going to pop over to Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for all your contributions. And again, yeah, that's me. If anybody wants to connect, got a couple of polls. Have a play with. Yeah, so does anybody, any questions out there? Anybody want to ask me any? Thanks for the feedback, everybody. Thanks, Mick. I hope you found it useful. Cheers, Cheryl. Ariel, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Thank you, and thank you, Anna.
Hi everybody, Leonie from the iMoot team here. Just before you all disappear, I'd like to officially thank Vinny for his wonderful efforts in today's presentation. I trust you all enjoyed it. Obviously, everyone's had some interesting concepts and questions and answers, and Vinny's given you some things to think about, obviously. So enjoy all that. Don't forget to go and access the recordings if you missed anything, want to refresh yourselves with what Vinny's covered today. The recordings are there, and once again, there will also be downloadable versions of the recordings, hopefully up online in the next couple of weeks when the team's recovered and got some sleep from the live sessions. Thanks again, Vinny, for your time and efforts, and we'll see you all online at some of the other sessions.
Thanks, Leonie. Thank you. Oh, thanks for all the feedback. I didn't know, Dom, I didn't know Shane had wrote the anon feedback. Cool. Yeah, any idea, any comments, guys? Anything I can help anybody with? If not, I'll wrap up and I'll say thank you again to everybody. Thank you to everybody for watching, whatever time of the day it is with you. It's a very late afternoon here in a hot and humid Malaysia. So yeah, that's it from me. I think I'd say. Anything else from anyone? Just trying to see if there's any questions to answer. Oh, yeah, just to point out down the bottom in the files, 101 creative ideas for forums final.pdf. That's the PDF of the presentation. So feel free to take a copy of it. I did go fairly quickly. That's it. Cool. Thanks again, everybody. I'm going to leave it there. I better turn the audio off as well.